In today's brief video, I want to share with you guys some things that I learned from overcoming pornography addiction, having had once really struggled with it. If you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs, which are dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, substances that I once struggled with. If you want more information about our program's paid and free resources, be sure to check out the link in the pinned comment and the video description. When it comes to quitting pornography, I think one of the biggest things that you have to start to be aware of is your behaviors that lead to binging pornography. And I'll talk about myself on this one. So I would come home after a 12-hour day at work, right? Sometimes maybe even a longer shift. And I would get stoned. And then I would binge Instagram. I would binge TikTok. I would binge YouTube laying in bed for a few hours on end. And often what I was doing is on Instagram, I'd be looking at photos of attractive girls. On TikTok, you're watching a video of some girl shaking her rear end. Or on YouTube, you're getting into kind of more risque type content, especially now with YouTube Shorts and more force-fed content like that. And what would happen is I would kind of be setting myself up for a teaser before actually watching pornography. So I was starting that dopamine trickle, right, with more soft core content, which would then eventually result in me hopping on Pornhub or some other website like that. So here's where the problem began, though. When I would smoke weed, I would then wind up laying down on my couch or laying down on bed. And then once I'm in bed, stoned, I could find myself getting sucked into social media for hours on end. And much of the social media content that I was consuming was almost like borderline softcore pornography, which would then result in watching porn. So in order to fix that cycle, I identified, okay, I probably have to stop smoking weed because getting high and laying in bed or laying on my couch and binging social media for hours on end always results in watching pornography. And once you're high, your willpower goes down, your decision making goes down, right? You let your guard down. And for me, when I would get high, I opened up the doors for pornography addiction and getting into other types of trouble, things like that. So after getting rid of the weed, I then had to identify the other behavior, which was binging social media content. I had to start to become very, very selective in the type of social media content that I watch. These platforms will tailor content to what you view. So if you go on my YouTube now, most of my content revolves around my hobbies, which is mostly trap and skeet shooting. It revolves around fishing. I like watching boats, wavy boats, right? Shout out to Haul Over Inlet. And then I like watching motivational videos and videos about how to grow my YouTube channel. And that's really the only content that I follow. That's the only content that I watch. My TikTok page, my For You page, is a very, very similar design of content. Although I will say TikTok definitely lets some stuff slip through even after I've clicked not interested in this type of video many times. So I think you have to be very, very cautious on that platform. Instagram, Facebook, I honestly hardly ever use those platforms anymore. They weren't serving me any good. When I was on Instagram, browsing photos of some attractive girl's life was really just useless. It was taking away from actually getting out there and living my own life. Whereas a platform like YouTube, I'm able to learn new skills on here every day. Now, another big aspect in quitting pornography, and I want to talk about this one cautiously, and I do think this is true, especially for men, young men, is having a partner, a dedicated partner, someone that you're intimate with. I can tell you being married, having someone that I'm intimate with, having someone that I truly love has been a blessing when it's come to quitting pornography. But here's the catch. I couldn't find that relationship while I was stoned, while I was watching porn, because it was interesting. The more porn I watched, the more stoned I was, the more interested I was in not having a relationship, right? I was much more interested in the fast-paced hookup culture lifestyle, which even then, when I was having sexual relations, I was still watching a lot of porn. And I think what that had to do with was that constant chasing of dopamine, new experiences, new things, new girl, new day, different day of the week type of deal, right? And it's funny because a lot of people think, oh, if I have someone I'm intimate with, I'm going to stop watching porn. And I don't think that's true. I think it needs to be a deeper connection to that person that you care about. But I do feel strongly that landing a secure, meaningful relationship, whether it's with a guy or a girl, whatever you're into, I don't care about that. But I think having a meaningful connection, a meaningful, intimate relationship with another human can go a really, really long way when it comes to preventing substance use in general. Not only pornography, but also weed addiction, alcohol addiction, pill addiction, smoking, whatever it may be. And the catch-22 of that is I wasn't able to land that relationship until I worked on myself and until I got the weed addiction and the porn addiction and the nicotine addiction under control. Until I fixed myself, I wasn't, or at least started to, I wasn't capable of maintaining a meaningful relationship. I had had previous meaningful relationships throughout my active addiction to nicotine, THC, and pornography, and they always fell apart. They always crashed and burned. It wasn't until I got sober, started to get somewhat comfortable in my recovery and sobriety process, that I was then able to meet my now wife, who has been an instrumental part in my remaining sober and staying away from a lot of these things. I think pornography is one of the hardest addictions to quit. You've heard this before because of the ease of access to it. But I believe firmly, if you go about your day-to-day activities, setting yourself up to not watch pornography, right? So not getting stoned, not binging social media content, being aware of the people that you follow on the platforms you are on and the type of content you consume, I think quitting pornography becomes a lot easier. The last thing that I learned was I did need to fill in that time with something else. Now, maybe that time is now spent watching a TV show with my wife that I used to watch porn. Or I spend that extra time really working on my side hustles, which are now full-blown businesses. Time that I used to spend watching porn is now time that I spend editing YouTube videos. Time that I used to spend watching porn has now been time that I've spent learning about investing, getting my real estate license most recently, designing merchandise for our YouTube channel. That time that I spent watching pornography, that obsession of pornography, has been replaced with other more healthy, more productive obsessions. And I think it's really important that you fill in that time with something else. For me, boredom is the devil. Downtime is the devil for me. And I cannot allow myself too much boredom, too much downtime. I constantly have to be doing something. And I'm okay with being peaceful. I'm okay with being still. But I need to be engaged in something. Otherwise, porn is a really easy thing to slip back in. Other little tips, maybe you don't want to be bringing your phone into the bedroom with you. Maybe you don't want to be bringing your phone into the bathroom with you when you're browsing social media while you're taking a dump. Maybe that's trouble. I've talked to a lot of people in our programs who have issues with watching pornography not only at night but during the daytime. And a lot of men I work with are younger or middle-aged entrepreneurs, and they find themselves going home during lunch to watch porn or blowing off a meeting to watch porn, or they have a down day where they don't have a lot going on at work and they watch porn. Something you may have to do is set your schedule to prevent that downtime. So no more going home during lunch. Maybe you need to be booking more meetings during the day, more Zoom calls during the day. I never allow myself too much downtime during my workday because that's a really easy opportunity for me to go home and wind up getting into trouble. Of course, sometimes I need to rest, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. I have a feeling there's a lot of young guys, young girls out there that can relate to exactly what I'm saying. Don't purposely schedule downtime to go and watch porn. Otherwise, you're going to wind up watching porn. Pack your day up from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Expend that energy doing productive things. Expend that energy working on yourself and developing yourself versus tearing yourself down throughout the day. Those would be some of my primary takeaways when it comes to quitting pornography. I think it's important to eventually find a significant other that you can share intimate moments with, but where you truly love someone, not just casual sexual relations. I think that just feeds into the cycle of porn addiction. I think it's vital to watch out for your behaviors. Do you smoke weed? Do you binge social media content? What environments are you in when that's happening? Eliminate and reduce your exposure to those environments. And then lastly, get a new obsession. Fill in that time watching porn with a new hobby, a new side hustle, a new career, a second career. Fill that time with something productive, with something beneficial. And just keep saying no to porn over and over and over and over again. You get a craving, do some push-ups. You get a craving, go watch and learn about a side hustle. You get a craving, get up and move. Toss your phone somewhere else. Get away from it. Go outside. Go for a walk. Take a hot shower. Take a cold shower. Change the environment. Fight that craving early on, and eventually those cravings will dissipate over time. I hope this video helps you guys out. Check out the pinned comment in the video description to learn more about our programs. I'll see you in one of those two spots.